With your latest news, I'm April Cummings. Chief Medical Officer Dr. John Lee reports 409 COVID-19 tests carried out since Thursday. All are negative. The number of people in isolation, either at a government facility or in their homes, is 736. As of our deadline, vaccination numbers for the day had not been provided. His Excellency Governor Martin Roper says he is aware that new variants of the coronavirus are causing concern and anxiety, not just locally, but globally.
Currently, there is not enough data available to understand everything about the new variants. But there does seem to be reasonable confidence that the vaccines will still be effective. And the signals are that the vaccines, even with the new variants, will stop people getting seriously ill or dying.
Governor says that gives real hope, but also reiterates the point that until there is more data, we need to stay vigilant. He says he fully supports government's cautious and careful approach until we know more.
I do, however, think it is superb news that an Oxford University study has demonstrated that AstraZeneca vaccine stops an individual infecting others with COVID, as well as protecting the individual. And that's the first study to show that. It still needs to be peer-reviewed, but it's a highly promising development. And again, I do believe it gives us real confidence that vaccines are the way out of this pandemic.
Governor Roper says the development of vaccines continues to be an incredible scientific advancement. The Cayman Islands Bureau of Financial Investigations secures court orders freezing $200 million U.S. in what's described as a significant contribution to combating money laundering and related offenses. The Bureau says the funds are part of several ongoing international investigations and have been frozen by the jurisdiction as part of the investigative process. At present, the Bureau is involved in several active investigations, a small number of which reportedly relate to the potential financing of terrorism.
Although it's still in its infancy, the Bureau, along with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, has already secured restraint orders, which are proven tools to prevent the dissipation of assets by money launderers.
The National Coordinator for the Anti-Money Laundering Steering Group, Elizabeth Lees, tells Radio Cayman the team is essential as the country works to ensure it is investigating and prosecuting criminal cases in line with international standards. Cayman Islands Customs and Border Control confirms a vessel with 6 migrants arrived in the BRAC this afternoon, 4 males and 2 females on board. CBC says the vessel took on water, was out of fuel, and unable to continue on its journey. Everyone on board appeared to be in good health. The migrants will be subjected to the established COVID-19 protocols and processing procedures and will be placed in mandatory quarantine in a government facility. Customs officials speak out after a group of protesters voiced their concerns outside the government administration building this week. Details from Radio Cayman's Paula Cal.
In a written statement, the Ministry of Employment and Border Control and the Customs and Border Control Service say they are aware and understand the gap in legislation in the Customs and Border Control Law 2018 and are looking at options to rectify this. Under the law, a person who successfully applies for asylum can add a dependent under the age of 18 who is already on the island, but it does not cover a spouse. A married couple has been protesting at the government administration building who are facing this very issue. CBC says it has had discussions with them in the past and has advised that any changes in the law would require some time for the Cabinet and Parliament to consider. As with other persons who are seeking asylum or who have been granted asylum, the government continues to provide financial support in the form of rental and utilities assistance, and in some cases, food vouchers as well, adding those protesting are benefiting from that program. CBC says it is also aware of the circumstances pertaining to one of the protesters' ability to obtain employment through a work permit. The government is actively considering alternate options under the current legal framework that would facilitate her request to remain and work in the country with her family. The government will review and consider legislative amendments and will advise when the amendments are agreed. For Radio Cayman News, I am Paul Akal.
As of our deadline, 2 wanted men still at large, but a third now in police custody. Police arrested Fabian Ebanks in West Bay Wednesday night. Otis Miles of Georgetown and Mitcham Wood of Bodentown were still on the run, and police are asking for the public's help to bring them in. The men allegedly breached the terms of their conditional release from Her Majesty's Prison Northwood. Phase 1 of Life's Class Libraries project is complete. Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins has more.
Literacy is for Everyone is the largest donor of books into the public school system, with 38,000 books donated so far, and the Class Libraries Project seeks to uphold that reputation.
Phase 1 has just come to an end, and it has meant that 5,100 books have been donated to two primary schools, West End Primary School on Cayman Brack and Theoline McCoy Primary School in Bodden Town. But also alongside those classroom libraries, we've also been able to purchase 7 sets of what are called linked texts that support 6 primary schools. Now, these linked texts, they support the government's Read, Write, Ink phonics curriculum that was introduced in 2019.
Executive Director of Life, Juliet Austin, says Intertrust has helped accomplish this with a donation of $111,000.
But what our sponsors, Intertrust Group, have enabled us to do is to complete this project with beautiful new books and enhance these existing classroom libraries. They're sort of new and improved, and get books into the hands of children, normalise these print-rich environments in primary school classrooms across the entire Cayman Islands.
Ms. Austin says they try to provide books that will suit every child's needs.
This is about really making sure that the students have beautiful, curated classroom libraries that are modern, that offer choice, that offer genres, and that promotion of literacy as a way of life gives them a gift that will keep on giving for the rest of their lives.
Life is now in the beginning stages of Phase 2 of the Class Libraries Project. For Radio Cayman News, I'm Felicia Rankin-Sollins.
To learn more about Life, visit their website at life.org.ky. Government is continuing to urge people to use greener options while they navigate Georgetown. They're offering civil servants free bicycles and launching a new carpool initiative. For the wider community, the free Georgetown shuttle service is available to anyone who wants to get around downtown quickly. Radio Cayman's Carsley Fuller decided to try the shuttle out for herself.
I made my maiden voyage on the Georgetown free shuttle bus system today, and no lie, I am a fan. I left the Radio Cayman studio around 9:15, walked over to the post office, and then up to the courthouse where the shuttle had just stopped, and I popped on. Alas, I was the only rider, but that left me and bus driver Mr. Courtney the opportunity to chat, and I could soak up the air conditioning. It was less than 5 minutes before we hit our destination, Kirk Supermarket. I hopped off, grabbed my stuff, and headed back to the shuttle pickup spot. This wait was a bit longer than the first, and although today was gorgeous out, the stop could probably benefit from shade in the warmer months. Once on, I was able to ride the bus a bit further along, opting for the Elgin Avenue drop-off than the courthouse where I got on initially. I will have to say the app is key as it allows passengers the opportunity to check where the buses are in real time. This can help you minimize your wait times. I'm not necessarily sure the trip would have saved me any time if I had taken my own car, but it definitely got me outside, which was lovely as I went to the bus stop, saved me money on gas, and the struggle that is finding a parking spot at the government administration building around 10 a.m. Reporting from Georgetown for Radio Cayman News, I'm Carsley Fuller.
That is your latest local news from Radio Cayman's newsroom. I'm April Cummings.